Well, Steve Artsy 9. Well, I finally watched the original Roadhouse. I just happened to find the original film and the new one on Amazon Prime because I'm just temporarily signed up, which I got a free offer, and I was really just using it to get free postage on a Transformer. Um, Now, the film was made on a mere $15 million back in 1989, which is, I guess, a decent budget for then. It made 61.6 million, so it did pretty well. It was released May 1999. Um, yeah, it's United Artists, Silver Pictures, so it wasn't like a big Hollywood film or anything. Had Patrick Swayze and was it Kelly Lynch? Oh, Kelly Lynch. I thought it was Kelly Preston. No wonder I was confused. Um, so it's basically the story of this guy who I don't. He's like a superhero. Like he's one of those male sort of film characters who are just like superheroes, but not really. But they are like, he just knows how to fight, and in every situation he manages to outsmart or outwit or out skill everyone he comes across, and he always ends up on top. Although he does get cut and stabbed a few times, but he's just immune to the pain. And he just sews it up himself, or he has someone do it at a doctor's surgery, and he doesn't even have pain medication or anything like that. He does take antibiotics though, so I guess he's not immune to microbes and bacteria. But yeah, he gets hired to handle the security at a roadhouse that is this guy's having problems with. Now, maybe this guy wanted him to clean up the whole town while he was there. Maybe he had an ulterior motive other than just taking care of his store. But he ends up coming in and taking a disliking to the guy who's basically running the town and abusing the people and taking advantage of the people in the town. And he ends up ridding the town of this guy. The violence is like, I was going to say ultra violence is like over the top, and it's not comical because it is too brutal and violent to really be comical, but it's so James Bond fight scene where no real person would really be able to do that and always come out on top. Although, like I said, he does get stabbed twice, or cut twice, and he does get actually beat up by a group of guys like at least once and stuff like that. When it was like five of them and that, but he gets saved by Sam Elliott, who I knew him from somewhere, but he was so much younger then. He just didn't quite look as Sam Elliott as he normally does, even with the long hair. And he doesn't survive the film. That's one of the most interesting parts when he's found dead. I'm like, wow, okay. Because there's a moment where the guy who's running the town basically, he says, look, you have two choices, your girlfriend or your best friend. Because he meets the Kelly Lynch character who's working in a hospital. She stitches him up. They end up having a romance. She's like, of course, a good girl and everything, and because he's turning down all these hoes and all that in the bar all the time, are always coming on to him. Although he does treat them all like ladies, and his idea of being nice to everyone and until you basically destroy them, and his way of dealing with everything is interesting. And he finds that the whole town is corrupt, and like the guy who runs the bar is beholden to the people selling him the alcohol, who are working on behalf of the kingpin sort of guy who's running the whole town and everything. And the guy who runs the local convenience store, they're basically beating him up every month for money and stuff like this. And he basically just takes the guy out in the end. He takes him on and takes him out, and there's a couple of brutal fight scenes and some throat slitting and so forth, and it's really a weird sort of, it's very violent, but at the same time it's so over the top that it kind of gets away with it while still being really violent and quite gory in a couple of scenes. You really don't register it on some level, but it's not comical. It's a really interesting film actually when I was watching it, because I don't really like action films. I get bored by the action. I'm just like waiting for the fight to end to see who wins. And if that's all they do in the film, it gets a bit boring for me. If there's no story and no character and it's just people fighting and action scenes and set pieces. This is a little different. Patrick Swayze creates a really interesting character who is very zen and is studying, he's sort of doing his Tai Chi and stuff like that, and he's just different from everyone else there, and it's interesting because he's always able to predict other people, but they were never able to really work him out. So that's how he ends up coming out on top, and I can see why it gained a cult status. It did okay in the actual box office, and has developed this cult status as he's sort of become this sort of male sort of hero, because he's like kind of a superhero in some ways. But I'm glad I watched it. I for years had confused it with Two Moon Junction for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because it's a Roadhouse and that. Am I getting confused? I don't know. I got to work out and find that film and watch that sometime. Yeah, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. I did start watching the second one with Jake Gyllenhaal, but I had to stop it because I had to go out and get my groceries, and then I never got back on again. I'm going to watch it after this, and hopefully have it not be ruined by the fact I sort of broke it up in two. I don't have the time to watch the first half again. But yeah, I can kind of see why it became a cult film, why it got a sequel. But yeah, I don't have an opinion on the second film yet. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the classic Roadhouse. I really did enjoy it somehow. There's just something about the violence and the fighting and all that. Just, it did work. Patrick really managed to pull it off somehow. It's interesting.